We are right around the corner from mass XRP price appreciation. In this video, I want to share with you 4 critical things that are all coming together at the same exact time that I believe are absolutely critical to XRP going on a massive run towards the back end of this year. In this video, I want to paint the entire picture for you and let you know the key things that absolutely need to take place for XRP to achieve this price appreciation. In this video, we're going to break all that down, so make sure to stick around for this whole thing. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe to the channel. These 2 simple things really do help me out so much. Also, if you have any good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So guys, I want to start out this video and just say thank you to all of you. As you could probably tell, I'm filming this video in my new YouTube studio, which is absolutely incredible. I never thought I'd ever get to this point, so it's absolutely surreal to have something like this. I have, for the longest time, as you guys probably know, I've been filming these videos in my car, in my bedroom, green screen, everything. So it's so cool to finally have my own space to produce this content. So massive thank you to all of you. It's your guys' encouragement, it's your guys' support that really got me to this point. We are nowhere close to this being over. I feel like I'm just getting started with all this. So a massive thank you to all of you. You guys are absolutely incredible, and your support is the real reason why I make these videos daily. The other thing I want to key you in on is I'm actually going to be moving the afternoon live streams to the morning. It's now going to be a market open show. That was always the intention of the live streams, but because I had another job, I really couldn't do them in the morning. But now they're going to be morning live streams, so I'd love to see all of you over there. It's going to be pretty much to get you guys ready for the day coming, go over everything you need to be paying attention to. We're going to be incorporating a lot of news into it, going over all the things going on in global markets. So make sure to come along for that. That's going to be around 7:30 to 8 Eastern. We'll kind of see how things line up and how the schedule works out. Probably going to be a little volatile in the beginning, but we'll figure it out. So with all that said, let's jump into the video. And once again, just massive thank you to all of you. But I really want to talk about specifically in this video exactly what needs to happen in order for XRP price appreciation for the back half of the year. I really do think there's a lineup of some critical things we absolutely need to be paying attention to, and all these things are going to funnel together in order to really make XRP go. Now, the first thing that's probably pretty obvious to everyone here is the ongoing Ripple SEC case. In order for XRP to really get some sustainable momentum behind it, I would love to see an end of the Ripple SEC case. I really do believe this has been kind of suppressing us, holding back the price chart. And if we were to get this case off our back, I think it would allow a lot more institutions to come into this asset with more certainty. What we know is there's pretty much only regulatory clarity in the United States for Bitcoin. The SEC is back and forth on Ethereum, and until the Ripple SEC case is completely over, I think in the eyes of institutions, it's debatable if there's clarity for XRP. I think as soon as the case is over, it is going to be absolutely certain there is clarity for XRP, maybe more clarity than there is for Bitcoin. But as institutions are looking at it right now, the SEC can still appeal this case, and therefore, for them, the case is not over. Not how I want them to look at it, but I believe that is the way they look at it. So what we really need to see is this case to wrap up. Now, the good news is we are getting very close to that appeal deadline, and the SEC is still not appealed. Take a look at this chart. I actually drew a line on October 7th. That is the day the SEC needs to appeal by. And what you can see is XRP is just coiling up prior to this date. I don't think it's any coincidence. I think the market wants to see the SEC not appeal. And the second that happens, obviously XRP is going to have a green light next to it for one, institutions to start purchasing the asset, but also for institutions to start interacting with the asset. What we know is institutions are now explicitly saying that their customers want cryptocurrencies, and they understand that cryptocurrencies are going to be critical to the next generation financial system. BlackRock literally said, we thought private blockchains were going to be the winner here. We were wrong. It's going to be public blockchains. That's the blockchains you and I own. So what we know is going to happen is these institutions are absolutely going to be using these blockchains. XRP being one of the first digital assets with clarity for these institutions to use is absolutely going to be a game changer. So this is the chart we're watching right now for XRP in terms of that appeal date. If XRP's price can get past that date or past that line without there being an appeal, guys, I think that's going to be tremendously bullish. Now, this video is not meant to be focusing on the XRP price chart, but I don't think it takes a genius to see that this thing is absolutely coiled up. It's ready to go. Every single indicator on the XRP price chart is essentially flashing its go time. So it's absolutely critical for XRP to get out of this case and really move towards the next phase of its growth cycle, which I believe is going to be institutional adoption. I believe if the case does wrap up, we could see an XRP ETF as well as a Ripple IPO within the next year or two. I believe an XRP ETF is going to be easy. Right now, we are watching major institutions like we talked about earlier fighting to get crypto products out there. And a lot of these institutions completely understand that an ETF is the gateway drug to cryptocurrency. Now, the institutions need to be careful. They don't want to create an ETF on an asset that doesn't have clarity. So they are going to create ETFs for the assets they deem as having the most clarity. The SEC doesn't appeal the Ripple SEC case, and I think XRP is going to be the obvious choice for the next ETF. For a while, it looked like it was going to be Solana, but now what we're seeing is the SEC is actually saying, oh, wait a second, Solana might be a security. Now, I think we're past this point with XRP. I think the SEC has kind of lost that one, and I don't think they're going to try to rehash it. I think the SEC is going to move the goalposts. They're going to go after things like Solana and say, you know what, we'll take our partial win in the Ripple SEC case and let's just put that you-know-what show behind us. Let's go after some easier tokens, and that's what I think the strategy is going to be for the SEC. Certainly going to be interesting on exactly how that plays out, but what we can see is that the SEC is clearly switching focus. They're going after exchanges rather than the digital assets themselves. So XRP's clarity could be a very big deal when it comes to the initial wave of institutional adoption. Now, the next thing I want to mention quickly is obviously the fact that we need a positive environment in the United States in order to really see mass adoption of cryptocurrency. And for that, we really need to talk about the macro. When it comes to the macro, it is absolutely fundamental to understand that for the last couple of years, we have really been in a very challenging environment for cryptocurrencies and growth investments. What we need to see is lower interest rates to really funnel investments into these riskier areas of the market. When you have high interest rates, institutions are conservative. That's simply the way it is. But what we are seeing and hearing from the Federal Reserve is that interest rate cuts are likely around the corner. And the reason why interest rate cuts are around the corner is because inflation looks like this. What we are seeing is inflation went all the way up to close to 12% during the COVID era. Now inflation is falling off a cliff and close to 1.22%. This is getting risky on the verge of a recession. So we'll have to put that as a preface on the back half of this. I thought the Federal Reserve would have been cutting by now, especially with what this inflation data is looking like. I mean, we're borderline about to plummet into deflation, which would be very bad. But the thing is this creates certainty that there will be rate cuts. Absolutely. There is no doubt about it that we get rate cuts. The good news about that is whether or not we get some pain in the short term or we're able to avoid the pain, I don't think it necessarily matters that much. Rate cuts are coming, and that is going to be key for liquidity. What we saw over the past couple of years is that cryptocurrencies were essentially just hanging on by a thread. They were able to survive. They were able to grow. We saw a lot of bankruptcies. We've seen a lot of fraud, and we've seen an environment that's been very bad for crypto. But despite all of that, we have seen a lot of adoption from major institutions, and that's kind of leveled out the prices. It's caused the prices to actually kind of hang tight where they've been rather than falling off a cliff like we typically would have seen in a high interest rate environment. But the good news is, as I talked about earlier, we are right around the corner from some assets like XRP getting legal clarity. It's going to make it a lot easier for institutions to invest into these digital assets. And if you combine that with the fact that we are currently on the precipice from a liquidity event and a liquidity being able to be driven back into these investments through interest rates, then that could create a scenario in which institutions have liquidity they need to deploy, and XRP is one of the few assets they can deploy that liquidity into. when you paint the picture of an XRP ETF possibly coming and a Ripple IPO in the future, you start to see a lot of very exciting institutional involvement around this ecosystem, all while liquidity is there to be invested. For the longest time, there was the excitement, but there wasn't liquidity, or there was liquidity, but there really wasn't excitement from the institutions. For the first time, we're really seeing these things come together. And I believe the combination of these things is going to be extremely powerful. It seems like we're slowly moving out of this retail speculation phase of the cryptocurrency industry, and we're really starting to see institutions saying, okay, this is early, it's new, but there is no doubt anymore that this is here to stay and is going to be absolutely critical to the foundation of the financial system we're building. The CBDCs around the corner and a lot of these tokenization projects, I think it is absolutely a no-brainer at this point that we're going digital. We're moving away from the analog system. We're moving to a digital system. As the largest institutions are saying, this new system is not going to be a private permission system. There are going to be private permission systems, yes, but the system as a whole is going to be connected via the public blockchains you and I own. You take into account a lot of the other things we talked about in this video in terms of XRP's clarity and liquidity coming back into the market, and compound that with the fact that Ripple is one of the few blockchain companies working specifically with the institutions rather than against them. I believe it paints a perfect storm for XRP mass price appreciation towards the back end of this year. Now, I want to caveat all this by saying that I don't think the Ripple SEC case necessarily has to be over for XRP to go up. We saw XRP hit that $2 mark with the Ripple SEC case still ongoing. And in fact, before we even had clarity on XRP. So I think if the SEC does appeal in the next couple of days, it's not necessarily a deal breaker, but I think the vast majority of us, and I think the vast majority of people investing into this ecosystem, do want to see this case dead and gone. And I think that would provide a massive catalyst that we've really been lacking for a while. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. And for now, Mickle out.